Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Shavi Zane. I'm glad that you all could join me again. So, I'm coming on to do a discussion that I already uploaded the video in regards to this. It's concerning the death of my mother. But what I did notice is that YouTube apparently decided to cut off the volume on my last video. I'm not sure if it's because I might have divulged a little bit too much um, for their comfort, okay? But this is not about keeping people comfortable. This is about the truth being brought forward. This is my truth concerning what happened with my mother. And so I pulled cards the last video in order to unmask some of the details, or many of the details that have been kept from myself, from my family, those who are concerned to know, as well as just kept in secret in general in order to protect certain people's agendas. Okay. A few of the things that I was able to unmask is the fact that um, I can start by telling you that my mother was incarcerated back in 1994, May 22nd, 1994, at the age of 29. And they incarcerated her with the accusation of prostitution. And they put an article in the Washington Post that read, it was a very short article because they blended it in with someone else's story that had nothing to do with her, as if they was trying to deflect from what took place. Um, and so the article read that she actually, when she was incarcerated, she requested to be put under protective custody because she was in fear for her life. Okay. And what ended up happening was that my mother, instead of her being protected, she actually came out in a body bag. She came in alive, looking for protection, and she left in a body bag. And I said in my last video, it was a reminder to me of Sandra Bland, where she was, she was arrested and incarcerated for not putting on her turning signal or something like that by a very obviously racist police officer, and she came out dead as well. And Sandra Bland, I've already looked at many of her live videos on Facebook. She was the type of person that was very pro justice. She was the type of person that was all about having balance, having justice, and doing things from honorable intentions and speaking out for the black community. And so she was very strong in her countenance and in the way that she presented herself to the world and the way that she spoke. And so it was very clear that she was not the type of person who exemplified the type of symptoms for someone who would go and commit suicide just based off of being locked up for something as simple as a turning signal. But these people tend to mask murders. They mask homicides by saying that the person who they ended up killing actually decided to kill themselves. And so I brought that up to say, my mother, she was a very strong woman. Many of the people that know her personally, I've asked them about her, and they've told me that she was not the type of person that would ever take her life. And I do believe that just based off of who I am today, you know. And so I'm doing this video because I want to definitely bring these things forward. And apparently, like I said, it's being censored. And so there's certain people that do not want this message to get out there, but I'm not here to coddle anyone. For me, it's all about presenting the truth, okay? And the truth is going to be brought forward. And if they end up doing the same thing to this video, then I'll just record it again, okay? And so um, I'm going to be pulling the cards. What I did find out in the last message is that there was multiple people involved in the murder of my mother, okay? In the article, they stated that she was requesting to see a physician's assistant because she wasn't feeling well, and they said that she was throwing tantrums and that she was throwing stents. Tantrums and stents, which is terms that you would use towards a 3-year-old, not an adult woman who was clearly seeking out help, okay? They said that while she was incarcerated, she was throwing tantrums and saying that she no longer wanted to be there. Now, if you're holding her under protective custody, which is what the article said, because she requested to be there to protect her life, then why would you suddenly decide to make her stay? That part I did not understand either. You know, because at that point they said that she had a $10 bond. I'm sure that she could have gotten the $10 and gotten herself out at that point. So if she's requesting to do so, why all of a sudden would you want to hold her in the jail, knowing that she was there and she asked for extra time there for protective custody? A person will not ask for protective custody to spare their life and then turn around and take their life. And so, like I said, what I amassed in the other reading that I did was that there was many people involved in terms of close family members, governmental officials, crooked judges, crooked attorneys, that there was Moors involved, the Illuminati was involved in this. And so I'm going to pull the cards again, and maybe more evidence will come forth this time, okay? Because I was able to see many things in that last, in the last reading when I picked up on the energy of what took place. So the first card coming out is imprisonment, okay? So this is exactly where my mother was. She was in prison at the time, okay? She was in prison at the time. Thief, right behind that is thief, okay? So one thing that I did pick up on from the reading that I did do the last time is that there were people who had an agenda against my mother to take her inheritance. If you all look at some of my previous videos, I've been unmasking the fact that the U.S. government is a corporation and that our social security numbers are linked to accounts, okay? And so I did, unmask these things in the last video in regards to my mother, but you're not able to hear it, like I said. So we're just going to keep going, okay? Lovers, okay? So there was lovers involved in this, potentially a romantic partnership, which I did see that as well, that there was some blackmail in regards to that. Despair came out right behind that. Yes, so somebody was in despair about this relationship. I got multiple decks that I'm going to pull from, and sudden wealth, okay? Sudden wealth, yes. Because there was someone that had gotten paid under the table. I saw that there was a payout to multiple people in regards to her inheritance, okay? So as you can see, the first few cards, yeah, family secrets exposed, okay? These are family secrets here. Pervert who works with children, okay? I did unmask that as well. Expect a message, okay? So I feel like, with these cards that's coming out, I'm not going to do too much reference to the last one. I'm just going to allow this to speak for what needs to be brought forward in terms of bringing some justice involving my mother's murder, okay? Family secrets was being exposed in regards to a pervert that works with children. So apparently maybe my mother was in a position where she was getting ready to tell the truth in regards to someone that was in the family that was a pervert, okay? Obviously somebody who was a child molester. And expect a message, I would have to say that is, someone was expecting to receive some information in regards to that. There was an uncle involved. This did come out last time, okay? Last time I saw there was an uncle involved. There was an uncle, a mother, a sister, a false female friend, a false male friend, an attorney, a crooked judge, Moors, okay? And that there was blackmail, that there was blackmail in regards to a relationship, okay? So I'm seeing that there was family secrets being exposed here in regards to child molestation, which is something that I did hear about through my own personal family. Some people told me that my mother had accused some people in the family of molesting her, and that was one of the reasons why she ended up leaving home at an early age as a teenager. So that's not far-fetched right there. Family secrets being exposed, pervert who works with children. So there was somebody, I did see also that there was somebody who was well known in the community, who was very well respected within the community that works with children. I saw a teacher, and that this person was, like I said, well respected within the community, but also a pervert behind closed doors. And so some sort of family secret was being exposed here. So there was a lot of blackmail that was going on to where, people who was close to my mother would have had an agenda in regards to her life being taken early, and who would have been more than happy to get paid out, or more than willing to receive a payout, okay? So cards that I have out so far is in regards to her imprisonment. There was theft, okay? and that there was a despair in regards to a lover's situation concerning a coupleship. So something about lovers here, and then sudden wealth. And so there was some expectations in terms of money. Somebody was in despair in regards to their financial position here. Okay. And so they decided to to become a thief, to become a criminal in order to receive this sudden wealth. Okay. Yeah, blackmail. There you go, blackmail. So somebody decided to blackmail my mother in order to receive this wealth, okay? In order to gain whatever this inheritance was, because somebody was already going through some financial strife. If you look at this card closely, it says in the background, let me see. I don't know if you could see that, but there's a sign back here. It's right there. It says not hiring. It's hard to get a close up, but this sign says not hiring right here. So this man here is in despair in regards to not having money, and that just so happened to land right next to sudden wealth. So somebody was in despair about money, and they thought that the best route to take would be to thieve and to steal. Okay. Family secrets are being exposed. It's time for these types of things to come out. You know, I always remind y'all we are in the age of Aquarius, and in the age of Aquarius, this is when the truth is being revealed, okay? And like I said, it's not about sparing anybody. It's not about coddling anybody, and this definitely isn't about being afraid of anybody. I'm not going to be closed-mouthed to this, especially knowing that I have this gift where I'm able to channel in these messages and pick up on the energy that happens surrounding that time. I'm going to speak my truth, and whatever is supposed to be brought forth will be brought forth in due time, because the Most High is all powerful, and he is the most righteous judge of all. Okay, he is the judge of all judges. And so if the Most High says, well, based on the case that you have set before me, I'm going to make a judgment call based on this situation. It's already being made in spite of me doing this video, but I'm putting this out there for the record so that, you know, for those people who watch me, because there are people that watch me even without me doing this. They watch me just because they see that I'm actually in a position to help others to rise up and to raise and to become their highest selves and to move in their divinity. And so that's something that the enemy does not want to see us doing. Okay. And so they're always keeping a watchful eye out for who it is that is coming out and presenting these messages to the world. You know, as you know, even during the time of so-called slavery, they didn't even want us reading so that we would not come into this space of empowerment. And they watched the slaves very closely. And being that the U.S. corporation is still, they still have us under a system that is meant to keep you bound as a slave. That's why they have you attached to these social security numbers and these birth certificates, so that you are considered to be a ward of the state. Okay. You have brother involved. Okay. I did see that last time. Brother involved. Unhealthy sexual fetish. And they lose. So apparently, you know, it's very possible that this brother has some sort of unhealthy sexual fetish. You're talking about family secrets are being exposed here. So it is what it is. Family secrets being exposed. A pervert here that's within the family. Okay. Uncle involved, brother involved. They lose. Okay. So this is why these people are in despair, because they are losing. They are losing. I have removed myself from pretty much all of my family besides my children. Okay. Because I began to recognize the type of spirits that many of them carried, especially once I began to awaken to who I am as a child of the Most High God, as a chosen seed. I began to realize that these people were, the spirits that they carried, it did not mingle well with my spirit, okay? And so in order to maintain my own inner peace and to continue to grow and to evolve, I had to release those false relationships. It was very necessary for me. And besides that, even concerning my mother's death, I've asked many questions to people within my family and never received any actual feedback. It's always been people that's kept very quiet, very hush-hush about the situation. A lot of people with the, you know, I don't really know what was happening at that time. No one has photos of my mother. That's another thing that I found to be very, very odd. You know, no one has photos of her. Not saying that I don't remember what she looks like. That's too many cards that's falling. That's why I'm putting them back in here, y'all. But I know what she looks like, and I have a couple of photos myself. But the problem is that, you know, if you care about a person, then you're going to keep something to allow you to remember their presence here with you. And so no one has photos of my mother. And so I find that to be, you know, pretty odd, unless you just feel guilty about something. Okay, so yes, a lot of cards coming out here. I'm going to pull from my other deck. I really want to get one card at a time. But yeah, I'm seeing here, yes, there was definitely theft. Okay, somebody was in despair in regards to this sudden wealth, or they received some sort of sudden wealth through blackmail. So let me see here. Family incest, female child molester, paid to watch you. Okay. So apparently there's a lot coming out in regards to exposing family incest, okay, and things that was happening within the family, these family secrets that was going on. And that's not an uncommon thing, especially in the black community. Keep you stuck. So there was many things that was being done to keep my mother stuck. So she had already come up in a very difficult childhood, and then to go and end up in a position where, because we ended up in foster care. I explained this in the last video. Me and my siblings ended up in foster care. And I strongly believe it was underneath false allegations against my mother in order to put her in this position of being imprisoned, so that they could pretty much have their way with her and try to use that situation as an excuse. Like if they, a lot of times when women or when families, black families lose their children, when something happens to them, the public generally sides with the system. If something like a homicide or a suicide happens to them, then they'll automatically assume, well, that person was a bad mother or a bad father. And so naturally they probably took their life because they lost their children, or naturally they probably did this crime because if they wasn't a criminal, then they would not have lost their children. But people need to understand the system is extremely rigged. And that's why I had that dream in one of my last videos about the black women and children. The dream came to me that they are actually taking black women and children, and they are using us as ways to feed their system. And so by removing us, by pretty much kidnapping, yes, they kidnapped the children, they put them in foster care. But in this dream, they was actually taking the black women, and they was trying to make us out of zombies. They was trying to make us into robots. They was trying to pretty much take our power so that we would never rise into our divinity to continue to be the co-creator with the black man, so that we could rebuild this structure. And so there is an agenda against the black woman and child, especially. Okay, obviously there is also an agenda against the black man. There's an agenda against the black people all across the board. But black women and children is something that they seem to be very fascinated by in terms of trying to get a hold of us so that they're able to continue with this criminal structure that they have built. Okay. And so, yes, I'm seeing that there's a lot of family secrets that was going on. And so that would be more of a reason for them to be paid under the table. So let me see. This says a false female friend. Okay. Sacrifice you, and she knows. So this false female friend was very aware clearly of the fact that they was doing this to sacrifice my mother. Okay. They took her life. Sacrifice. That's pretty much indicating that somebody is taking your life in order to gain something for your life. Okay. So they were sacrificing my mother. Okay. In order to gain this sudden wealth. It's clear here. Someone was in despair because they was in poverty, and they saw that it was an opportunity to gain sudden wealth, to cash out on my mother. And so they was in this energy of stealing, thieving, okay? And they sacrificed my mother. They made sure that they blackmailed her, okay? Whoever these people are, it could be between this uncle, this false female friend, okay? As well as the brother. I have here, yeah, karmics was losing money. That's what I was just saying. So the karmic family members are people that are not your true soul family. These are people who came here with the agenda to distract you from your path, to distract you from your highest calling. Okay, it's like pretty much demons that come in through people, okay, to keep the chosen seed from awakening and from arising and from rising up to who we are. And so being that they targeted my mother, and I know myself that I am a chosen seed, that would have been something like a generational curse to trickle down into the next generation. The pain, the shame, the guilt, all of those things that would have been centered around my mother's sacrifice. The agenda was so that it would actually trickle down to myself, so that I would never step into my purpose, so that I would always be hidden behind this veil of pain, shame, guilt, fear, and all of these different things based on what I saw my mother go through. That's why they call them generational curses. Okay. And so, yeah, this karmic family was starting to lose money, and they saw my mother as an opportunity of cashing out. They fear their karma. Okay. So yes, these people fear their karma because they know that they was highly involved in this situation. Betrayal. Okay. They betrayed my mother. And so they fear their karma because they sacrificed her. And they did many things to try to keep her stuck, one of which was putting her in a position where they blackmailed her in order for her to lose her children. Okay, and the governmental structure, like I said, was a large part of this blackmail and judgment. So they are being judged for this blackmail that they have committed. Okay, they was trying to avoid the judgment by committing this blackmail, because I feel like largely a part of their judgment, because there was so much sexual molestation within the family, was this despair that they was going through, and probably a lot of financial lack. And so they saw this as a way of cashing out, wanting to cause illness. So they wanted to cause illness over her. The last reading that I did showed that they was paying practitioners of black magic to do things to her, to send a lot of stumbling blocks her way. That card came out 3 different times in 3 different decks to indicate that there was dark magic being done. So they was strongly involved in that, as well as the Illuminati that came out. So I'm going to see if everything comes out in this one, but I'm seeing more evidence coming out in regards to, addictions. Okay, and that's another thing, in terms of the black magic that I was just talking about. A lot of these people tend to use dark magic to throw stumbling blocks to cause addictions, illness, financial losses, and different scenarios to happen in people's lives, so that they stay in this hamster wheel of obstacles. And ultimately what happens is many of these people end up in really bad situations where they can never they have mental illness. They can never arise to who they were created to be. Okay. And so that was the contracts. Okay. So here, the conspiracy was all about contracts. Now, when I tell you about these contracts, I keep mentioning it. They're with the social security number and the birth certificate. The U.S. government is a corporation. It is a non-for-profit business, okay? And so they have us up underneath these things in order to keep us as slaves and bound to this structure, because your birth certificate does not say that you are an American, okay? It says that you are a citizen, okay? You are part of a corporation. And so being a citizen or a part of this corporation does not make you a sovereign to the land. It makes you a slave to the system. It makes you a ward of the state. Okay. And so these contracts, they had these contracts here, false contracts, okay, that they used to not only take me and my siblings from her, but to also use this contract that they had against my mother, conspiring against her in order to gain wealth, in order to gain access to her inheritance. Okay. And this is something, look, it says millions here, millions. And I just held this up and that card popped out. Sudden wealth, millions. Okay, so there was millions at stake here. And like I told y'all before, these contracts, our inheritance is worth millions, okay, if not more. They're worth that much because the U.S. corporation would not be able to stay in this position of so-called power for as long as they did, and they would not see the benefit of keeping us in this structure or seeing us as being slaves unless they was benefiting greatly from doing it. Okay, so there is a large profit to having people as slaves, especially today. Okay. Um, and so, yes, these accounts are worth millions. And so these contracts, there was a conspiracy against my mother in order to gain access to these contracts. Yeah, mother. Okay. So they put my mother in prison in order to steal, okay, these millions of dollars that was involved with these contracts, okay, because there was a lot of blackmail, okay, there was a lot of blackmail here, and there was close family members that was highly involved in the situation, working alongside governmental officials. Look at that, paid under the table. Okay, I can't make this up. They was being paid under the table, okay, because they knew that there was a lot of money at stake in order for them to sacrifice my mother. Okay, millions of dollars underneath this contract that she has, okay, which is directly linked to her social security number. Father. So I feel like there's a mother, there's a father involved, a brother. Pretty much the entire family was a karmic family when it came to this situation, because they looked at it as, well, look at how much money is involved here. And, I guess they figured, well, we're sitting in this energy of despair. They can't find work, having financial strife and issues. And I feel like that, like I said, that was largely due to the karma that they was bringing down on themselves for a lot of the family secrets that they was trying to keep from being exposed here. Okay, a spouse or lover was involved in this situation. Karma return. So yeah, these people are receiving the karma for what they have done against her. And there's dark magic right there at the bottom of the deck. They're receiving that karma back, okay? There's no one that can escape the karma that is coming for the things that they have done against the chosen seed, as well as the ancestors of the chosen seeds, okay? Wicked attorney. I told y'all there was a wicked attorney involved in this situation. There was a wicked attorney that was involved in, doing things to tamper with the contracts and to tamper with the documentation surrounding my mother's death. Okay, many people was being paid under the table. You got brother coming out again. So this is showing me that, yeah, because of inheritance. That's at the bottom of the deck. All of this was happening because of my mother's inheritance, okay? Like I said, we all have these inheritances. And once you release yourself from the system and move into your sovereignty, what they generally do is take over. What you would have to do once you release yourself and become sovereign from the system is that you take over your account, okay? Because right now they have jurisdiction over the accounts that we have connected to our social security number and birth certificate. But once you release yourself from the system, you take over these contracts yourself, and then you have direct access to your inheritance. But it's a process. It's a very tedious process. And so, yeah, blocked finances, sister blocked finances. So it was something about a sister as well whose finances was being blocked at the time, or who was also trying to block my sister's finances. Yeah, I feel like there was some karma that was happening. Not my sister, but the sister. So I do, in terms of family, I'm not going to mention anybody's name here. I'm just letting the cards speak for what the message is. Okay, and if these people happen to see this, then they will just know that, hey, if the shoe fits, then wear it well, okay? Because karma is coming towards you. They are afraid of you, okay? So I know that these people are definitely fearful of me. But yeah, this inheritance, this was all about the inheritance here. Dark magic, family secrets was being exposed. So I feel like, maybe even my mother, yeah, investigator. There was an investigator that was involved in this situation. I feel that my mother was probably exposing a lot of these people in regards to what they was doing within the family, a lot of the perversion that was happening within the family. And this is why she separated herself, because I do know that she was not close to these family members. So she separated herself, and then she had a lot of blackmail that happened in terms of, because anybody can call CPS or whatever you might want to call them, DCFS. It depends on where you're located. This would be the Child Protective Services. Anybody can make an anonymous phone call and make accusations. And all it takes is for these people to pretty much say, okay, well, now we're going to come in and investigate, because I've had this happen to me before, okay, and in regards to my daughter's health, okay, and that's another thing that I want to get into in another reading or in another discussion. But These people have done many things. They'll take any allegation, it doesn't matter how minute it is, because they say that we are so-called wards of the state, pretty much that they own us and our children because we have signed over these birth certificates and these social security numbers. Um, they pretty much see themselves as having the right to do as they please when it comes to you and your children. And so I feel that there was a lot of blackmail surrounding that, where these people was definitely upset about the fact that these family secrets was being exposed and this perversion in the family was being exposed. And so that's why they were so openly willing to work alongside the governmental structure, as well as the last video I saw that there was Moors involved. All of these people was in cahoots to getting a hold of my mother's account, and they had to take her life in order to do it. Okay, let me see what else is coming out here. Slander. There you go, slander. That's what I was just telling you about. People that make those phone calls and anonymously make these phone calls and tell lies on people in regards to how they are as a parent. Okay, and they end up involving these people into but everything is orchestrated and planned out. These people that are a part of this U.S. establishment are very well aware of who is who, because they do a lot of monitoring. When you sign these birth certificates, you have to write down the time that your child was born, where your child was born, the birth date of your child. All of these things are used as tools in order to look into your astrological or your natal chart. That's all you need, is those few bits of information, and then suddenly you have a full blueprint or a full layout of what this person's future is going to look like and what they are sent here to do. And so these people are very well aware of who's here to unmask the structure, who's here to stand up and to fight for rights, fight for civil rights, or fight for, not civil rights, but fight for their sovereignty, to fight for their freedom, to stand up for our people, or to rebuild our community. They know who's here with that type of warrior type of spirit. And who's here as the chosen. They know who we are, and this is why they've used so many tactics and so many agendas to try to get into people's DNA, and to monitor. They've always been looking into like our organs. You hear a lot about organ harvesting. They do all of these things because they're trying to find something, and what they're trying to find is certain DNA sequences and certain things to prove that some of us have these superhuman genes, things that if they compared it to their own genealogy, which I'm talking about those who are non-melanated people, many of them, it's very clear that we do not have the same DNA structure. We do not have the same DNA makeup, okay? And so they're looking for these different strands or these different things within our DNA structure to be able to determine who is here, who is going to actually awaken, who's going to be in a position of unlocking their DNA and being able to see this thing from a higher perspective. And so they start from generation to generation to generation, pretty much causing all of these stumbling blocks and working with those family members who are in a very low vibration, who didn't come here. The family members that end up being the karmic family members are the ones that came here with the intention, with the agenda of working with the enemy in order to keep the chosen seed down or to cause struggles. And if you go back and look at one of my older videos called "They Tried to Sell Your Soul," that's even written in the Bible, where it says that the merchants, those who are outside of the country, will no longer buy from Babylon. And it talked about the frankincense, the oil, the fabrics, and all of these things. But at the bottom, it mentioned the slaves and the souls of men was also being sold from Babylon. And so selling someone's soul is in the Bible. It is biblical, okay? If that's the context that you like to reference, okay? It is very much so biblical, and these are things that these people have been doing because they understand that not everyone has a soul, okay? Everyone has a spirit, but not everyone has a soul. And it's very clear that not everyone has a soul because you can see it based on people's behavior. And if you are really awakened and seeing through the matrix, you can actually look at a person that walks past you and tell if they're a soulless being, okay? But that's when you are truly awakened and the veil has been fully lifted from your eyes. And so that's what I was just saying. They sacrifice people. They sacrifice the soul of a man in order to gain this wealth, as well as to use that energy from the soul, okay? Because the soul is an energy that's directly connected to the Most High. And so when you think about the soul, think about like the solar rays of the sun. The sun is the highest energetic source that exists within our solar system. So when you think about the word soul, you don't want to disconnect it. Everything is interconnected, and things are used, things are called certain things for a reason. So there is certain energy that comes with that comes from a man that has a soul versus one that does not have a soul. And so if you're in a position where you are wealthy enough to be able to buy a soul, like the Bible says in Revelations, purchasing slaves and souls of men, if you're in that position, then of course you're going to use this wicked criminal system as well as your own wicked agenda to try and cause mishaps in people's lives so that they can create the environment to actually take someone's soul. And so, yes, sacrifice. I strongly feel that this is what was going on here, because this card came out twice and surrounding my mother's death. Okay. They know you know. So, yes, these people are very well aware of the fact that I know what's going on. I'm no longer blinded to things. And yeah, this was all about a trust, okay? Because what happens is once you are actually able to take over your own account, once you get into your sovereign state, then you open up a trust, okay? And so this was all about a trust. This was all about inheritance. That's why the sacrifice and this blackmail, this was happening here. You are being watched, okay? And so, yes, I know that these people are definitely keeping up with what's going on with me. But it doesn't bother me any, because I know I'm always protected. Just like you can watch me, but while you watching me, the Most High is watching you. My holy angels, my whole spiritual team that he has set around me 24/7 is watching over me, and they're also watching those who call themselves watching me. So it's like these people, the so-called powers that were, they're running out. They're running out of tricks. Their trick bag is empty, because all they can do at this point is use fear tactics. But that does not work for those of us who are lions, those of us who are courageous, and those of us who know who we are. We don't operate from a space of fear, because death is not something to be feared. I understand that I'm a spirit having a human experience. So I don't fear spirit or flesh. You see what I'm saying? Because I am a spirit as well. And so even when it comes down to like demonic entities or those types of things, they don't have no space here. They can't enter here because there's nowhere for them to go. Okay, I'm operating from a pure space. I'm operating from a space of love, high vibrations, and my connection to the Most High is very much so a very tight bond. And so there's no space for them to dwell. Okay, they go around looking for spaces to dwell. This ain't the space right here. And so that's that energy that you have to project in order to let the enemy know that you operate from a space of fearlessness, because you know who you are. And that's what they did not want us to do. They was always doing these different various things like this against our families, in order to keep us in this place of despair and feeling hopeless. But this is a new time now. We have awakened to the agenda. Like I just said, they're out of tricks. Didn't I just say that? These people are out of tricks. Their trick bag is empty. So, yeah, this is the only thing they can do is watch. You see what I'm saying? And they'll try to, take the volume out of my videos and things like that. They want your energy. Yes, of course they want the energy. That's what I was just telling you about. The souls of a man is energy. It's a high vibrational energy that's directly connected to the Most High. Because like I said, many people don't have souls. And so especially when you consider the fact that the sun is now closer to the earth. Okay, the earth has now moved closer to the sun. And so because it's closer to the sun, everything is vibrating higher, because the sun's energy is so high, okay, and vibrational frequency is so high that with the earth being closer to the sun, now it's only certain species that's able to survive with the earth being closer to the sun. And because we are melanated beings, we readily absorb the UV rays of the sun, whereas those who are non-melanated beings, they repel the UV rays of the sun. And so these people, because they're already soulless, okay, they have a strong agenda to want to take from us so that they can continue to survive, okay? But karma is here. They paid a practitioner. Yes, they did pay a practitioner for my mother's death. And there it is, working with the Illuminati. So the Illuminati and practitioner, for me, those go hand in hand, because the Illuminati is definitely into the dark occults, okay? Now, occult means hidden knowledge. They are into using it for darkness and evil. Okay, the Illuminati is. And so they was involved in my mother's death. Of course they was. Paying a practitioner, doing a lot of dark magic to create stumbling blocks for her so that ultimately they could end up taking her life. And this card just happens to say 29. My mother was 29 years old when she was imprisoned back in 1994. May 22nd is when she passed away. She was 29 years old, okay? And so this was all about stealing from her. This was all about taking her wealth. This was all about taking her inheritance, okay? Because these people was in despair financially. They decided to go in and take her inheritance. And so, yes, they're watching me. They know that I know the truth. Yeah, there it is. Moors was involved. I told y'all this. Moors was involved in this situation. The Illuminati, Moors was involved. The U.S. government was involved with this. The U.S. corporation, family members, karmic family members was involved in this situation. All of them came together in order to take my mother's inheritance. They was being paid under the table to keep quiet about this situation. And this has happened for generations after generations. Okay, trust and believe my mother is not the only one that has fallen victim to these people and their greed. They have made millions and millions, if not billions of dollars off of people's inheritance working alongside the U.S. government. Because in terms of the Moors, like I told y'all before, they ended up separating and splitting during the Civil War because they was being offered money by the U.S. corporation in order to keep people enslaved. Okay, the U.S. corporation was paying them to keep quiet. Okay, we'll give you a cut if you sell this person over to us or convince them to join our team. That way the U.S. government can have more people underneath their slave system or as slaves. Okay, and so the Moors had separated. You had those that went on the light side and you had those that went on the dark side, and those who went on the dark side have been known to cause situations for people. They've been known to work with the Illuminati, paying practitioners, doing dark magic, okay, because the Moors are very aware of occult knowledge, like I said, hidden knowledge, and those who are on the dark side use it for dark things, okay, in order to cause issues for others so that they can gain other people's inheritance. And that's what they've been doing, setting people up. That's what they've been doing. But this is all working out in my favor regardless, because I ended up awakening just one generation after my mother, just in time to put this message out there, because, yeah, they're losing the battle now. We're waking up. They're losing the battle, and they know that the battle has been lost and that there's nothing that they can do about it. And I'm pretty sure that more people will begin to wake up as you continue to seek and ask the Most High. There is somebody who is an honorable investigator that's involved in this, though. And so this is why the truth will be revealed. The more that we continue to go before the Most High and tell him, we desire to have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay, I believe it might have been David who actually, instead of asking the Most High for wealth, he asked for wisdom. And that's the type of spirit that I embody. I ask for wisdom because wisdom is what ultimately will lead you to everything else that you need in this lifetime. And so for me, the most valuable thing that I could possess is wisdom. Okay, and I use my wisdom from a space of honor and integrity. And so when you go before the Most High and tell him that you desire the wisdom to be able to see things clearly of what's happening around you, if he will grant it to you once you get into that space of being healed enough to be able to receive it and to be able to responsibly use the wisdom. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of these people, they ended up gaining small tidbits of wisdom through occult knowledge, but they really don't even know half of what they should know because the Most High did not grant it to them because they don't operate from a space of integrity. But some of the hidden knowledge that they was able to obtain, they decided to take that, and because they was able to gain a certain amount of power over those who were still asleep, they decided to use it for wickedness instead of for good. And so this is why these people are running into a lot of karma at this time, because nothing, it doesn't matter how long ago my mother was murdered. Karma still has to catch up with you, okay? It's not something that you can run away from. There was also a crooked judge involved in this, a crooked judge that was involved in her imprisonment. And that's why I said if she was asking to get out, if she was asking to go ahead and bond out, which is apparently what she was doing because the article said that she was tired of being there. She told him that she was tired of being there. If she said that she wanted to be there to protect her life from the beginning, I want to stay here. I want to stay for an additional amount of time in order to protect my life because I feel that it's at risk if I go out into the general public, then why would you all of a sudden decide to force her to stay? And even if you, okay, so you force her to stay because you know that she wants the protection, even though she does have the right to go out on bond, you force her to stay. And then on top of that, when she's crying out for help, they say that they told her to wait because they said she was asking to speak with a physician because she wasn't feeling well, and they told her she had to wait. And then they said shortly thereafter the other cellmate said that they ended up seeing her hanging. Okay, so all of a sudden everybody just sees her hanging, but nobody saw her hang herself. This is why I say it's a lot that's not said in that article, and they used someone else's story. It was chopped up in many different pieces, inserting someone else's story that had nothing to do with her in order to deflect the true nature of what took place with the situation. And so this has happened to many, many people. We just don't know it because a lot of people have grown to trust governmental officials or those that are so-called in a position of authority, or even the media when they express stories through the media or through the newspaper or whatever the case may be. People tend to believe it. Those who are asleep, those who are not awakened to the matrix, they tend to believe these stories because it comes from them. They assume that these people are trustworthy. But once you remove yourself from this, I've removed myself completely from the matrix to where I'm able to see that these things do not just happen. There is always a wicked agenda behind things that take place in our lives, okay? And so there's so much more to this than people know. So I'm going to take these two here. He knows, there's a masculine, there's a male that knows, and expect a large payout. So yeah, somebody knows that there was a large payout. They was expecting this large payout, but the bottom of the deck, it says it's over. It's over. So yeah, the whole situation is done for them, and if the Most High sees fit that the justice that will be served for myself in regards to what took place with my mother is that I will receive a large payout in regards to my inheritance, then yeah, I would definitely take it. But yeah, the family secrets is that they was paid up underneath the table for this crime that they committed against my mother, and they are now receiving karma for what they have done. Okay, it looks like they may have been paid hundreds of thousands, whereas the account itself, the inheritance itself, was worth millions. And so, as you know, anytime you're working with other people who, like the U.S. government, and the Moors, of course they're going to take the largest payout. They're going to give you scraps in comparison to what the true inheritance is worth. But these people were so desperate and in despair for money, and they was already in this energy of perversion and doing things they had no business doing. They was willing to do anything just to get financial wealth. Yeah, there it is, working with the U.S. corporation. Working with the U.S. corporation. So let me pull a couple of cards here from this deck, and I'm going to go ahead and close out. And we'll see what happens with this message. And if they try to delete this one, then I'll just do it again. Okay? So, concerning the potential outcome of this situation here, I would really like to see and if any of you happen to have situations that you would like to look further into, if you feel that the messages that I have would be something that's of value to you in regards to situations that you might have had going on, then just email me. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to work with you in that way. So we have Tower and we have the Four of Swords. So yes, there will be healing surrounding the situation. I see this will be healing for me, and that my mother will finally be able to rest in regards to this situation, finally find some peace now that the truth, because this one sword represents the truth, these three swords represents heartache and pain. And so finally being able to find some peace in her rest, okay, as she rests right now, and that the Tower is going to take place for these people. Let me see what's behind this. Yeah, because the truth, that's the sword of truth that I was just telling y'all about, okay? I can't make this up. the sword of truth. The truth has been brought forward. Okay, the Most High granted me the truth so that I could bring it forward. And now the tower is going to happen for these people that was involved in this situation because they built this on evilness. They built it on darkness. You see all that darkness in the background? That's the Most High coming in to strike that thing down because it was built on wickedness. It was not built on a solid foundation of honor and integrity. And so now the truth is being brought forward. Yeah, and so now the hangman, this is all about seeing things from a different perspective. The truth is coming out now, okay? Because these people, they took advantage of their position. They took advantage of the position that they had in my mother's situation and their position of authority. The Hierophant in reverse is somebody that's using their position of authority in a wicked way or in a way of, rather than teaching people for good, they use their position of authority to spew wickedness and to spew lies, okay? And so this is the King of Swords in reverse. Somebody is very angry. Yeah, somebody don't want this truth to come out, but it's going to come out anyway. It doesn't matter, I'm going to pull one more card, and I'm going to go ahead and close out. And I'm glad that, for those of you who stuck with me, look at that. The truth is coming out. That my angels is up there. They see the truth. They know what's been going on. They've been watching over me. And so, yes, the contracts, I feel like that could be dealing with contracts right there. Yeah, new contracts coming through. So I'm going to definitely keep y'all posted on this one. I wanted to get this message out there because I felt that it was very necessary for me to expose the true nature of what took place behind my mother's homicide. Even though they tried to write it off as suicide, I always knew in my heart that it was much more to it because too many people in the so-called family was always just quiet about the situation. And now my mother can rest. Now she can rest, knowing that the truth has been exposed, knowing that I know the truth and that I'm calling out for righteous judgment to the Most High and my entire spiritual team to handle the situation in the most justified way. So that's what I got. I'll be seeing y'all during the next reading. I love you, and I'll talk to you all next time.